Praise Yah. This is Yaazi Yah, also known as Wooly, and I thank you for tuning in to PQLR1 Radio, where Yah is always first. And it's a wonderful day. It's a Friday here today. I don't know where you at in the world, depending on what time it is, because they know they start night at a new day at midnight and all these things. They've changed times and seasons. But it's Friday evening here, and in our household, we celebrate the rest day during the day and night, pretty much Saturday sun up to Sunday sun up. We have the whole day Saturday, that evening, that night, and then wake up on the rest days over on Sunday. So we today would be our prep day, preparation for the rest day. And it's been a pretty busy day in our household, but praise Yah that no matter how busy we are with the day to day things, the hustle and bustle of life and doing all these things, we can still make time to come on the radio and just to give Yah praise. And as always, I'm live today. So if you want to call in, you have anything you want to say, you want to add, you want questions, you want to comment, anything, you can always call in at area code 314-744-9414. That's area code 314-744-9414. And I'll get you on here live. You can talk in with me, have comments. And if you want to you can call or text that number. If you want to email, it's just PQLR, the number one, radio at gmail.com. It's all lowercase. PQLR, the number one, radio at gmail.com. You can always call in or text or email anything you have to say. I am always willing and just want to hear what you have to say, because I do believe that I don't know everything, but what I do know, I try to share with other people so we can all be on the same accord. You can know what I know what you know, and we will all be better people for it. So, like I said last week, I'm starting a new series called Shining Yah's Light Down the Rabbit Hole. Shining Yah's Light Down the Rabbit Hole. And once again, a rabbit hole are just those things that you go to that people call conspiracy theories and things like that. These are the things that kind of off the topics that a lot of people, especially if you're in Christian churches or you come from Christian church background, it don't really touch on. Like creation today, we're going to talk about things that people generally don't really think about and just don't talk about. And my goal is this next 7 Fridays to go over creation, days 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Because I thought about what's a good way to segue into doing this series. Because so many things I want to talk about. I want to talk about so many things, like so many topics I want to talk about. But I always found that at the beginning, you can go back to the beginning in Scripture, and you can find pretty much everything, the foundation of things. So then from there, you can build on other things. So I want to use creation to do that. So today, I'm going to be talking about the things that were created in day one. And in that creation in day one, there are so many tunnels down a rabbit hole you can go through. And I'm going to talk briefly on those things. I'm not going to go too in depth. I want to do enough to kind of spark your interest, and then hopefully you will go and seek out some things for yourself and get more understanding, more so than what I have. And you can show me some things. But I want to just kind of, what's the word, kind of just spark your interest for you to delve into some things and dig a little deeper. And that's the goal today. Because like I said, I like to go to the book of the Genesis and Jubilees and Enoch and Jasher, to the beginning of things, and really kind of see how things were formed. And once you know the beginning of a thing and you see something, you see it after the fact, you can kind of understand how things got the way they are, and you can really better understand things and have a good understanding of why things are the way they are if you can see where they came from. So today, we're going to talking about day one, and real briefly, the things that were created in day one will be the heavens, earth, which is submerged in water, the waters, the angels, abysses, the darkness, night, evening, dawn, day, and light. All these things were created on day one. Now let's start with I want to read the scriptures here. So for day one, and I have a sign that I made, and I went through and saw everything that was created in day one, two, three, four, five, six, and seven, and kind of compiled it together in a list. So for day one, we're going to read real briefly here, real quickly, Genesis chapter 1, verse 1 through 5, and then Jubilees chapter 2. Actually, I'm going to start Jubilees chapter 1, the end of chapter 1, and then go into Jubilees chapter 2. So Genesis chapter 1, verses 1 through 5. Let's start there. We're going to be talking about creation today. So it says that in the beginning, Yah created the heaven and the earth. And the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep. And the Spirit of Yah moved upon the face of the waters. And Yah said, let there be light. And there was light. And Yah saw the light, that it was good. And Yah divided the light from the darkness. Yah called the light day, and the darkness he called night. And the evening and the morning, first day. So the first day was that darkness and light, so the day and the evening, all that was the first day. He's not saying that a day starts from evening to evening. I know that's a whole nother discussion, but he's just saying that the evening and that morning, all that was the first day. Because remember, he started the first day, it was darkness, and then he made light. All right, and now I want to go to Jubilees chapter 2. Actually, Jubilees chapter 1, verse 28 and 29, and then Jubilees chapter 2, going up to verse number 3. So, just for someone who doesn't know about the Book of Jubilees, so Book of Jubilees is one of those books that were in Scripture. You go back in days of old, this book was in there, the Book of Jubilees. They also call it Little Genesis because it really goes over creation as well. And actually, it goes a little more in depth than Genesis. Genesis is kind of a brief overview, but if you don't have Jubilees, the rest of the creation doesn't kind of make sense. You start to wonder, well, how did it make this? How did it make this? Where did Satan come from? How did he show up? I know, when did he make them? Because I was a Christian, the answers I had was, when did the angels get created? And none of them I never had a pastor or someone explain to me when angels were created. But when I read the Book of Jubilees, a light switch came on. Like, yes, that's when they were created. It makes so much sense now. So I'm going to read Jubilees chapter 1. I'm going to read at verse 28 to 29. And then on down to Jubilee chapter 2 of the verse 3. And this is... so the Book of Jubilees is written from an angel's point of view. He's telling you the account, and then he's going to tell Moshe or Moses to write down the things that Yah told him to write down. So he's telling you he's like writing some things, but then he's going to tell Moses to write some things down. So this is verse 28. And he said to the angel of the presence, this is Yah talking. Yah told to the angel of the presence, write for Moshe, from the beginning of creation till my sanctuary has been built among them for all eternity. Talking about the new kingdom that's going to come down. He said, write about the creation. And then all the way until the end, we read in Revelation where that great city comes down with the 12 gates, the 12 tribes of Israel, the gates there, and the 12 angels, and the 12 the disciples. That city's going to come down. He's saying, write the creation from the beginning until the end when that city comes down. So verse 28 again. And he said unto the angel of the presence, write for Moshe, from the beginning of creation till my sanctuary has been built among them for all eternity. And Yahuwah will appear to all eyes, and Yahuwah will appear to the eyes of all. And all shall know that I am the mighty one, Elohim of Israel, and the father of all the children of Jacob, or Jacob, and king on Mount Zion for all eternity. And Zion and Jerusalem shall be holy. And the angel of the presence who went before the camp of Israel took the tables of the division of the years from the time of creation of the law, the Torah, and the testimony of the weeks of the Jubilees, according to the individual years, according to all the numbers of Jubilees, according to the individual years, from the day of the new creation, when the heavens and earth shall be renewed, and all the creation according to the powers of heaven, and according to all the creation of the earth, until the sanctuary of Yahuwah shall be made in Jerusalem on Mount Zion. And all the luminaries be renewed for healing and for peace and for blessing and for the elect of Israel, that thus it may be from the day into all the days of the earth. Now going to verse 2. And the angel of the presence spoke to Moshe, or Moses, according to the word of Yahuwah, saying, write the complete history of creation, how in 6 days Yahuwah, the Most High Elohim, finished all his works and all that he created, and kept the rest day, or the Shabbat, on the seventh day, and sanctified it for all ages, and appointed it as a sign for all his works. So now, going to see what happened on the first day. So we read in Genesis, the first day he says, in the beginning Yah created heavens and the earth, right? And he said it was darkness, and Yah made light and divided light from the darkness, called the light day, and then darkness he called night. And he said that was the first day. So that's what we get in Genesis. Now we go to Jubilees, he tells you a little bit more. So we go Jubilees chapter 2, verse 2. For on the first day he created, that's Yah, he created the heavens which were above, and the earth, and the waters, and all the spirits, which it says Ruach, and it's going to say spirits, people who are used to hearing spirits. Start on verse 2. For on the first day he created the heavens which were above, and the earth, and the waters, and all the spirits which serve before him, the angels of the presence, and the angels of sanctification, and the angels of the spirit of fire, and the angels of the spirit of the winds, and the angels of the spirit of the clouds, and of darkness, and of snow, and of hail, and of hoarfrost, and the angels of the voices, and of thunder, and of lightning, and the angels of the spirit of cold, and of heat, and of winter, and of spring, and of autumn, and of summer, and the spirits of his creatures which are in the heavens and on the earth. He created the abysses, and the darkness, evening and night, and the light, dawn, and day, which he has prepared in the knowledge of his heart. And thereupon we saw his works, and praised them, and lauded before him on account of all his works. For 7 great works did he create on the first day. So you see a lot more detail in there on the first day. Because, you read in Genesis, you read further on, you see Satan shows up. And then if you read over in Enoch, you see these angels go down, and they take these wives. And you have the Nephilim, all these crazy beings come around, and they start being born. And I always wonder, where did these angels come from? Because you don't see about it. And you just have the KJV, you don't see about the angels coming. You don't know where. But you read in here, and you see that's where the angels come from. He created them on the first day. So that's one thing that the heathen have right for us. They're wrong when they worship all these spirits, but they are right in knowing that everything has a spirit. The wind has a spirit. The trees, all the things that control nature, have spirits. The seasons have spirits. All these things you just read in a minute ago in Scripture and in Jubilees, all these things have spirits. They have angels doing it. When Yah says a thing, he says, okay, create this, do that. He doesn't actually do it himself. He has the angels that do his bidding. That's their job, is to do what Yahuwah wants them to do. That's what they do. They do what Yahweh wants them to do. They do the work. He puts forth a decree, like a good king he is, and they do the work. So he said, okay, your job is going to be to control, we're going to talk about later on in day 4, control the movement of the sun. You control the movement of the moon. You control the stars. You do this. You're reading here. You control the wind. You control the seasons. We see all these heathen and pagans, they worship all these things, these spirits of winter, spirit of summer. They go wrong when they worship the creatures and not the creator, but they are right in knowing that there are spirits around. Everything has a spirit. And the spirits, he said, are the angels. He had them doing certain tasks. Like they were created, one angel was created just to control winter, just to control cold. That's what they do. Their whole function in life is to do that. Just like our purpose in life is to fear Yah and keep his commandments. That's our whole duty. Their whole duty is to do whatever Yah calls them to do. You say they have an angel, his spirit is of the clouds. So you see all the clouds moving around and forming, not the chemtrail cloud. Those chemtrails are not real clouds. That's another day. The real puffy clouds and the storm clouds, there are angels actually controlling those things. And that's why when we pray, we can pray, and the angels move things sometimes. They control weather. They pray. We pray to them, just like in Daniel. He prayed to the angel, and he came. And a lot of times we don't understand the spiritual side of things, so we don't pray. Something, our household, I know Cece, I laugh because at first I was like, man, I don't know about that, but she was praying. She wanted it to be warmer longer or something. And it happened. She was praying, okay, I really want this. She kept saying it every day. I was like, I don't know, that's going to happen, And sure enough, she understood that if you pray and you talk with Yah, these things can actually come. And I've seen it. I was like, okay, oh man. I remember hearing some preachers talk about that, and I thought that was just crazy. How you gonna pray for good weather and change the weather? But then more and more I read my Bible, and I realized, yes, that you can do that. Remember with Joshua, it's talked about in Jasher. We'll talk about that later on another day. How Yah is in Joshua as well, but it also accounted in the book of Yasher or Jasher. Yah made the sun stop. He said, no, I want you to finish this battle and really destroy the enemy and give you more daylight. He just stopped the sun. And if you look in history, there are other cultures who talk about that. They say, oh, man, this day was a really long day. And especially in cultures like in the Chinese culture, they have really good history books. Like they kept a history records. They actually kept some really good records. And, they understood that something was going on. They knew Yah. They know Yah exists. They might not want to worship him, but since everybody came from the Tower of Babel, everybody knew about Yah. They kind of scattered around the world. They knew about these things, and they actually record about the sun standing still. But back to my point is that the angels control all these things we see in day one. And we don't like the pagans and worship them, but we have to realize that there are angels out there controlling everything. So we can pray to Yah to move certain things on our behalf. We can pray to Yah, Yah, I really want to do this. Can you help me with the weather? Yah can or he can't do it, but we have every right to ask Yah because we read about in the scripture. I believe it's in Hebrews 1:14 how the angels are ministering spirits sent forth to minister to us. That's what they are, ministering spirits sent forth to help Yah's people. That's what they're here for. Yah had them do a task. They're here to do that. And that's what they do. They are a spirit, but they can also, some of them are flesh and blood. They come down. That's why it talks about when we entertain people, you never know you entertain an angel. That's why it's very believable in my mind and very conceivable in more like it. And it is true, Scripture says it, that the angels cohabitated with men, with women, and had children. Now, was it supposed to do that? It wasn't what it was supposed to do, but could they do it? Yes. If we can entertain angels and we don't know, we think they're people. When we had angels coming, they remember the angels came, they set dinner for them. And they have a meal with me, and they ate. If the spirits can't eat, but they ate. They walked through doors. They were flesh. The flesh. They were different than us, but they did have flesh. And some of them don't. Some of them we can't see them. They're kind of behind the scenes, kind of veiled from our eyes. And I like when Elijah and his servant were there, surrounded by the army, and the young man was like afraid. And Elijah was like, "No, man, open up your eyes. You can see what I see." Open up his eye. He saw all these angels there, just ready to just conquer and destroy the enemy was coming to get him. The angels were there, but we just couldn't see them unless I opened up our eyes to see them. I have seen one before. I was younger, and I remember this. I was there by myself, me and my little sister, and my mother would go out and do something. And she said, she was supposed to pray, and we were fine. I remember I was sitting there. We were in they called the jungle there. Where you ever saw that movie White Men Can't Jump with Wesley Snipes and Woody Harrelson? It's in that neighborhood. And I think I even remember the address. But we were there, and mother went out, and she said she had to leave us there. She said, okay, I'll be back. I said, okay. And so she's like, Yah's going to protect you. And I remember me and my sister, Sherry, she was a year younger than me. We were sitting at the table. I think I was around like 6 or 7 in there. And I was eating some Captain Crunch. I remember that, eating some Captain Crunch cereal. Back then, we drunk regular milk, eating some Captain Crunch cereal. And I think my sister, Sherry, she was a little sad, kind of crying. I was like, we're okay. We're protected. And I looked up at the door, and I saw this really big being just standing there like an X covering the door. Cause we stayed in a bad neighborhood. And like our neighbor sold drugs. He got raided by police, and people are knocking on the doors, coming to buy crack or whatever. That's during the crack epidemic during the '80s. It was a crack epidemic going pretty high then. But I remember looking up, and I saw this being, and this thing was huge. And I, I looked at it, but I wasn't afraid. I didn't have any fear. I looked up at it, and I was just like, yes. I told Sherry, no, we'll be okay. I know she remembered that, but I remember it like I could see it like right there. This being was just sitting there, was well standing there with his hands up, like kind of hands up on the door. He was covering the whole door, and I was like thinking to myself, my mother, she prayed, mama prayed, we're okay. And I just kept eating my Captain Crunch. I looked over, I saw him eating my Captain Crunch. I look over, I see him, and I was just happy, and I had this peace about me, which surpassed all understanding. I just knew that we would be okay. And sure enough, my mother, she had to go somewhere. She came back, and everything was okay. But I remember seeing that angel, and that stuck with me. To this day, it sticks with me. That whenever I really get discouraged or I think that was going to help me, I think about that angel there that y'all let me see that one time. And so now when I've been in bad situations, well, I've been in some pretty life or death situations, I was not afraid because I knew that Yah protected me. If I'm in Him, He's going to protect me. And I knew that. And I had a peace about me. That peace still to this day, when things happen, I'm not easily startled. I'm startled. I don't really shake or just fear easily because I know that Yah is with me. I may not be able to see it, but I saw that one time I was like 7 or 8 was enough to carry me. Now I'm 43, and I still carry that memory of that piece of assurance that angel was there. So their ministering spirit is sent forth to minister into Yah's people if we walk in His way. Just like Daniel prayed, the angel came. We can pray these angels. They're here to do these things. They control the weather. They control the wind. They control all these things. So on day one, it makes sense that Yah will create the angels because the angels are the one they're gonna later on. They're gonna talk about the waters and the rivers and the sun and the moon and the stars and the sea creatures and all the animals and the seasons and the fountains of the deep opening up during the flood and the windows opening up and all these things. They cannot happen without the angels doing it. He had to have people to do it. They are there to make the things happen. Yah speaks to existence. Okay, light be this. Okay, sun do this. You go this way. Seasons be this way. Your jubilees will be this time. I need you to control the stars to do this. You have a certain path. You go to Enoch, it actually tells you in detail the path and how the moon tracks its light and how the sun moves and all these things. It's all choreographed by Yah saying, okay, I want to have you do this at this time. And the angels go forth and they say, yes, sir. And they go do it. They do what they're supposed to do. We're the only people, only beings that defy and walk outside of our purpose. We're the only beings who Yah makes one way, who try to do something different. There are angels who did it, and what happened to them? They fell down, and some of them were cast in outer darkness. But Satan and Yah wanted Satan to do what he's going to do down here because he wants us to be tempted. Far as no, Yah didn't tempt with evil. He sends Satan to do that. He wants us to try us, make sure we follow him. But some of the angels were put in outer darkness. Some are set under the desert, just in chains. One of them particularly put down there in chains, covered in sharp stones, and so he can't even see light until Judgment Day. And then they're going to take him out just for a second to throw him in the lake of fire. But some of the angels, Satan actually pleaded with Yah and said, can I have at least a third of them so I can come down and do the work you want me to do? And Yah said, okay, go forth. And that's the evil spirit that we see coming around and doing and going throughout the world. All this homosexual spirit, the spirit of lust and violence and anger and hatred and murders and thefts. They're responsible for all that, for sowing those seeds, dropping breadcrumbs for us to follow and tempting us. They're responsible for that. So there are some angels still roaming around here right now. Not all are in chains. Some, Yah actually said, okay, say you can use a third of these. You can use them for their work, and that's what they're doing. That's why there are different angels. We saw this in Daniel, in charge of certain areas. They can't do it all. They have to break it up in pieces. Okay, you have United States, this area. You have Australia. You have that part of Europe. You have this. You have this one. They have a kind of a hierarchy. just because there's not as many of them as we think there are. There are way more good angels, good spirits, good angels doing Yah's work than there are bad. So the bad one has to kind of divide the work a bit. That's why all of us, I truly believe, have angels that are just assigned to us from birth, from the womb, from conception. They're there, and they're saying, okay, I see they were conceived in sin. Okay, I have to deal with that. Okay, there's gonna be some issues gonna have. Okay, this person came. Okay, they were born. Okay, they were given this medicine. All right, I gotta get them to kind of watch over them so they don't do this. I gotta you know kind of help them a little bit, help them to see these things. And I think that we all have an angel that's with us, and knowing that Yah watches us and our angels, we should really be a lot slower to sin. I really thought we should really be a little slower to sin, knowing that there's always someone watching us. Not just Yah, He has the angels watching us. And also, the wicked ones are watching us too. They can accuse us. They say, oh, remember this? Oh yeah. I saw him do this. They run and go like they go run and tell everything we do. Good. The good angels reporting good, but the bad ones, they can't wait. People can't wait when you do something bad to go tell somebody. They gotta go tell it. The angels are, I believe, the same way. Well, yeah. I remember he did this. I know he's praying to get all this, but he just did this over there. So it should cause us to be a little slower to sin, knowing that there are angels out here watching us, along with Yah. So when you sin, not just you or another person you're there with, or group of people, is Yah watching you, and also the angels, good and bad, watching you in everything you do. So that's why Scripture says that in day of judgment, we are of no excuse. We have all these witnesses against us when we sin, but we also can have witnesses for good report if we stay righteous. So on the first day, Yah made angels, and another date we'll go further in the angels and to just we know what they're doing with the spirits, but also, well, the ones that fell in that rabbit hole, what happened with them and what created from them. We talk about that another day. But also, I want to touch real briefly on angels, that the angels, they were going to read the book of Enoch, chapter 15, real quick. Enoch 15, verses 1 through 7. Talks about the angels, because the angels, they went to Enoch because they knew they were going to die, and the offspring of the angels were going to die. They knew they were going to die. Yeah, I told them. They had a dream. They were plagued by it, and then Enoch had a dream, and he told them, he said, can you go to Yah and tell us this, plead for our life? And Yah told him, no, you're done. In fact, I'm going to let you live. I'm going to let the angels, I want you to see your children kill each other off. I want you to watch them die. I want you to see them, everything. That's how Yah will. I want you to see it happen. But in Enoch chapter 15, it talks about the angels and what they are. So Enoch chapter 15, verses 1 through 7, real quick. It says, then addressing me, he spoke and said, hear neither be afraid, O righteous Enoch, you scribe of righteousness. Approach hither and hear my voice. So the watchers told Enoch, I asked Enoch, can you go to Yah and plead on our behalf that he doesn't kill us? Enoch said, okay, I'll go to Yah for you. And this is the response that Enoch gets after he goes to Yah. So he said, then addressing me, he spoke and said, Hear, neither be afraid, O righteous Enoch, you scribe of righteousness. Approach me hither and hear my voice. Go and say to the watchers of heaven, who have sent you to pray for them. You ought to pray for men and not men for you. Wherefore have you forsaken this lofty and holy heaven, which endures forever, and have lain with women, and have defiled yourself with the daughters of men, have taken to yourselves women, have acted like the sons of earth, and have begotten Nephilim. You, being spiritual, holy, and possessing a life which is eternal, have polluted yourself with women, have begotten in carnal blood, have lusted in the blood of men, and have done as those who are flesh and blood do. These are ever die and perish. People, we die and perish. Therefore have I gotten to them women, that they might cohabitate with them, that sons might be born of them, and that this might be transacted upon earth. But you, talking to angels, from the beginning were made spiritual, possessing a life which is eternal, and not subject to death forever. Therefore I made not women for you, because being spiritual, your dwelling is in heaven. So the angels, there are no female angels in Scripture. People will try to argue that point, but there's not, because he made them just male, because they were not supposed to procreate amongst themselves. Hence why, we're not supposed to be doing this homosexual stuff, because we're supposed to get married and have lawful children and cleanse the earth righteously. That's what we're supposed to do, like he told Noah, to be fruitful and multiply. But we don't do that. We do our own thing, and Yah is merciful. He's merciful on us. But that's not the design. The design is for us to do it Yah's way. So the angels were all men, because you don't see any female angels in Scripture. You see all these male angels, but they were not supposed to come down and cohabitate with women. We read that another time when the 200 of them came down and got together and said, let's go do this. And Yah was like, okay, you want to do that? Okay, I'm going to punish you. And they can never get back to their high state. And they can never get back up to where they were. And I don't know what their jobs were. Yah filled it with somebody else, obviously, because they lost their position. They walked out of their righteousness and their full estate. But the angels are there. So on the first day, he had to make angels first, because they're the ones controlling the heavens and the earth and darkness and night and even and dawn and day and light and the abysses and darkness. The angels were the ones controlling all these things. So one of the first things he had to make would have been angels. This also, before I move on, go to the point in when I was in Christianity, something that always plagued me, and I can never find an answer. No one ever told me the answer. Yah said, let us make man in our image and likeness, let us make him. Now, if you read the book of Jubilees and Jasher, it explains this. Yah was talking to the heavenly host, all the angels up there. He was saying, let us make man in our image, because the angels were made in Yah's image. So he made them in our image. So he talks about the angels were made a little higher in certain things, but we're higher in position in certain things. They may have some more power that we don't have, but we have some power they don't have. But we're all made in the same image and likeness of Yah, but a little different. That's why when the angels come, like Scripture says, be careful when you entertain strangers, because you might be entertaining an angel. We don't know. So they look like us, they can walk like us. You can sit and have a meal with an angel. All these things, there are angels out here. Sometimes I think they're testing us. They may be the ones laying around somewhere, and you like, I'm gonna give this person food. That might be an angel. You never know. That'd be that person at the corner begging for money, and you just act, you don't see them. That might be an angel. That person who you see just walking down the street really sad, and you're just like, man, that person looks like he needs somebody to just talk to. That woman like she needs somebody to just talk to, and you just ignore him. That may be an angel testing you to see is you're actually righteously walking in love or not. Do you care about Yah's sheep? You never know. So it's always good to, when you see someone in need, just think about, okay, that might be an angel. Let me actually act respectfully. I see a homeless person, I don't look the other way, act like I don't see them. No, if I don't have any, I tell them sometimes I don't have any cash. What I do have, I have a bag of chips. I got a granola bar. I got a fig bar. I have a bottle of water. I have a banana. I have some fruit. I have a couple of change. You have this. Give them something. I'm not saying you got to empty your whole wallet and give them your firstborn child. You can give them something. That could be the seed sown to open up the doors of windows of heaven for you. You never know. And you was like, I'm gonna test. I want to test this person. And you pass that test. Y'all said, no, what? He passed the test. Go ahead and give them that house. Go ahead and give them that car. Go ahead and deposit this in their account. Go ahead and give them a favor with this person. Go ahead and give them this favor. You never know when we entertain angels what's gonna happen, good or bad. But then you do something bad. Y'all say, you know what? I was going to open up that door for that person. I was going to open the door for that brother or sister, my son or daughter, but they treated you like crap. Act like you didn't exist. You weren't a human. I'm not going to give them any right now. They're going to hold off on that. They failed that test. So I think sometimes the angels are out here testing us, and y'all's like, I want to see what they're going to do. Because we have to be tried. Some people don't like to be tested, but we all have to be tested. You don't really know somebody until times of testing, temptation, when they don't get their way, when things go bad. I encourage anybody, don't marry anybody until you see them in some bad times, because you don't want to get married to somebody and then when it gets bad, they run to the bottle. They run into somebody else's bed. They get violent, or they just shut down and just getting depression and just don't shower for weeks and just let the house go ready and just live in filth. You don't know what kind of person you're getting into until it's something bad. So let some bad stuff happen first before you get married with people. You never really know. But y'all want to test us. Well, we should test people, and y'all want to test us. So angels were created on the first day. And it makes so much sense to me now when I read, let us make man in our image. And image of like this, Yah said, let's make man. He's talking to the heavenly host. He's not talking to three people up there. He's not talking, there's not three separate people he's talking to. He's talking to the angels up there. He's talking to them, to the heavenly host, because they're not just one or two angels. There are just innumerable amount. There's more that we can count. Because think about this. Angels for the weather, weather here, like it could be winter here, but summer over there, and then winter over here. And so they got a lot of work to do controlling, and especially if we have angels assigned to us, helping us out and coming to ministering to us. I don't know about you, but I know in my life now, my angel probably works double time trying to keep me straight. I'm like, okay, Willie, what are you doing? Okay, what are you doing? Okay, what are you doing? It's like, man, he just stay busy because I am prone to certain things, just mindsets, just like, what are you doing? Okay, you know what? I need that correction. Let me get right. What am I doing? What am I thinking? Especially when I wasn't really walking in the word, as far as walking lawfully. I was a hot mess in things. I was just all over the place. I know my angel was busy. He was like, "You doing this again? Really? I have to watch this again. Why are you there? Why are you doing this? Why are you saying that? Why are you spending your money on that? Why aren't you saving and doing this? Why aren't you investing in this? What are you doing? You wasting your time on the internet? What are you doing?" And just sitting there like, man, I could be doing so many things. I'm here watching you waste your time on the internet. My angels were probably pretty fed up with me, just like y'all was, but they were merciful and they stuck with me and got me on the right track. So on day one, angels were created. Then what else was created? We got the heavens and earth. So the heavens is talking about the sky, as we see it. But it was when he first created it, it wasn't like we see it because the earth was created too, but it was submerged in water. It was water everywhere. So the heavens were like there in water. Then you had earth submerged in water. He made all the waters around, the angels in darkness and night and evening and light and day and dawn. And he also made his heavenly kingdom, his throne. The scripture talks about how the earth is the earth is his footstool, heaven's his throne. Actually, let's read that verse real quick. I'm going to go to 1 Kings chapter 8 and verse 27. Let me turn to it real quick. 1 Kings chapter 8, verse 27. Just 1 second here. 1 Kings chapter 8, verse 27. All right, it says that, but will Yah indeed dwell on earth? Behold, the heaven and heaven of heavens cannot contain you. How much less this house that I have built? He's saying the heavens of heavens can't really contain Yah. How can this house also that I built? I was going to read Psalm 68, verse 32. Psalm 68, verse 32. I was younger in the faith. I always liked, they used to play little games. And I was like an adult dog, who can find the verse fastest. I was always good at that, Sometimes I use my digital version a lot, but I like using my just old school, you can hear the pages turning. I like that sound of that. But Psalm 68 verse 32. It says, "Sing unto Yah, ye kingdoms of the earth. O sing praises to Yah. To him that rise upon the heavens of heaven, which were of old. Lo, he does send out his voice, and that a mighty voice. Ascribe ye strength unto Yah. His excellency is over Israel, and his strength is in the clouds. O Yah, thou art terrible out of thy holy places. The mighty one of Israel is he that gives strength and power unto his people. Blessed be Yah the Most High." In Psalm 148, verse 4. Psalm 148 and verse 4. Let me turn back to that. It says, "Praise him, ye heavens of heavens, and ye waters that be above the heavens. Praise Yah. So Yah, the earth and heavens are where Yah abodes, because you read in the scripture, you talk about the seventh heaven and different degrees in heaven. And so Yah's throne is up there. The earth is his footstool, and the waters were there as well. So it's like the earth, the earth when he created the first day isn't the same earth that we have now, because the flood happened. When the flood happened, the mountains of the deep opened up. So all these sinkholes you see around the earth, well, actually not sinkholes. They call these meteorite holes. They say a meteorite hit the earth 65 million years ago, and all those holes. Those are the fountains of the deep that opened up. If you look at them, they're not actually going in. Like if you got a rock and you put it in the dirt kind of goes a certain way, but these look like something came from the bottom and coming out, just like a geyser. You look at a geyser, those meteorite holes look just like the holes that a dry geyser looks. When a geyser it stops when the water is dry, it looks just like the meteorite holes. And also, you not find not a single pebble of a meteorite in any of these supposedly meteorite holes. These indents in the sand or in the rock, you don't see not a one meteorite pebble, not even a pebble. I mean, not even a pebble, not even dust. You don't see anything like that. Those were the fountains of the deep that opened up. And also, we got the windows of heaven, talk about another day, talk about the firmament, open up as well. But the earth that we see now isn't the same earth then. So the earth was made and it was surrounded in water, and he made all the waters and the angels and all the things, and that was just the first day. So we see on the first day he was pretty busy. He made the angels, he made the heavens, he made earth, he made light and darkness. And talk about light for a second. So light, and a lot of I truly believe the earth is flat with a dome. There's a firmament on the top and also on the bottom. There's a scientist who went down underwater, and he said there's a layer there that you just can't get under. He went to the water and just bounced back. You couldn't get through it. That's a firmament on. There's a chasm. Talk about the scripture. The rich man wanted to go up and warn his brothers, and the angel told him, you can't. I can't, because there's a chasm there. There's a separation, a blockage. That I can't go down there. You can't come up. So there's a bottom firmament that we can't go by, a barrier. A top barrier we can't go up as well. And also in the dirt, there's a certain point that if you dig in the dirt, you can't go any further. They can't go. You can try to use diamond tips and lasers and water and hydraulics and all the machines you can muster up, all your evil imagination can think about, but you will never be able to get past a certain point in rock. You just have to stop building. I have to go dig somewhere else now. You're just a point you can't go any further. So Yah has barriers all around. So my point is that the earth that we see now isn't the same earth that was back then. It's a whole nother different type of earth. Not that the earth is the same, but it's shaped differently. After the flood happened, a lot of things changed. The atmosphere changed. People were smaller. Back in the day, people were big, and they were just giants. When you think about, we went to a couple years back. We went to the Noah's Ark, the ark that they have there in Kentucky. I had the lifelike of ark. I remember we were talking. I was like, it would have been much bigger, because a cubit is from your elbow to the tip of your finger. That's a cubit. So my cubit is not the same as, let's say, a basketball player's cubit. My cubit isn't the same as Goliath's cubit or his brother's cubit. All those people of Gad, those are huge people. Their cubit will be bigger than mine. And imagine when people were bigger back in the day, but the oxygen was different. There's different atmosphere. Remember, it didn't rain until the windows of the deep opened up, and the windows of the deep, the fountains of the deep opened up, and the windows of heaven opened up, and it started raining down. It didn't rain. The rain came up from the bottom, because remember, the earth is surrounded in waters. So all this water, when Yah said, okay, we're going to talk about this, when he divided the waters, that would be on next Friday, the firmament. He made the water. It was all that water there underneath. So all that water underneath is that same water. It's the same water underneath there. Underneath there, that's the same water we have now. that it's to recycle. There's a lot of water down there. So the earth we see now is the same earth that was back then, but he made the heavens and the earth and the waters and the angels, the abyss, darkness, night, evening, dawn, daylight, and back to light again. He made the sun, moon, and stars on the fourth day. So the heliocentric model, the globe Earth people say that the sun is the source of all life, and it gives all the light, and we pretty much we revolve around the sun, get all our light from the sun and everything. But we see that the first day Yah made light, so there was no sun. The moon wasn't there. There were no stars. It was simply no Yah. He made light. Light is his own separate thing he made. Of course, we know Yah is light. We read in Revelation where he's going to wipe away all our tears, and there's going to be no more heat from the sun. The moon won't shine because we're going to have the light of Yah. Yah is so, like, he's so bright that we can't even look upon him. It talks about there's a rainbow over his throne, a real rainbow over his throne, and you can't even look at his face. He's just so bright. He's so bright you can't even look at him. So we're gonna have Yah as our light. He is the light. He is he is the source of all light. So on day one, there was no sun, but we have light. So the sun, while it emits light, the moon emits a lesser light. They're not light in itself. They are something separate. They're not light. They emit light. He calls them a greater light to rule the day, less light to rule the night, but they are not the source of light. Light emits from them, but light was created before they were created. I don't fully understand that, and I remember when I ran across that and I was talking about that, I was like, you know what? He made light before the sun, moon, and stars. So when people talk about the Big Bang, and then all of a sudden out of nothing came nothing, and a bang happened out of nothing, and then the sun came, and then all of a sudden out of nothing, the planets, all these planets they say, and they're just one planet, they're just Earth. They're just Earth, but that's another discussion. But all these things just started forming, and then all of a sudden Earth came, and then out of nothing, some amoeba, something happened, and this little drop thing just started living, and then started swimming like a fish, like a tadpole. And then one day, millions of years later, it just kind of out of nothing walked out of the water, and then it started crawling. Then it started walking. Then it came like a monkey, and then it came like a person. And then today, so nothing on nothing created everything. That doesn't make any logical sense. Now, I'm not a stupid man. I'm pretty intelligent in certain things. Some things I am pretty ignorant of, but other things I know pretty well. But I know that nothing from nothing, it's nothing. 0 plus 0 is 0. If I have nothing, and I add nothing, and I take away nothing, and I multiply nothing, divide by nothing, up nothing to the nothing degree, nothing times nothing, divided by nothing, plus nothing, added to 100 of nothings, I still have nothing. So you can't have nothing from nothing. Yah exists. Where did Yah come from? That question, I remember when I was younger, that used to just really be in my head. I would be sitting there just thinking. I would be up at night just really thinking, where do you come from, Yah? How did you? I didn't make any sense, Yah. Where do you come from? I don't know where you come from, Yah. And I'm really thinking about that. Like, where did Yah come from? I remember having that really discussion in my mind I think I was a teenager. I was just like, man, Yah, where did you come from? I remember reading the scripture, in the beginning, Yah. One of the first 4 verses I remember learning in Bible school or in Sunday school, I was like really young, was in the beginning, Yah. Back then I said God, but in the beginning, Yah, the first 4 words of Genesis, in the beginning, Yah. I was like, well, Yah, where did you come from? In the beginning, but his name, when you start learning about his name, Yah means the self-existing one. He exists outside of time, outside of space, outside of matter. He simply is. One of my other signs, this is my updated sign I'm looking at now when I have all the days from Genesis and Jubilee. But my other side, I have a day 0 on it. On day 0, I have Yah was. And he simply exists. Because his name, Yah, praise you, Yah. It means the self-existing one. It means that Yah doesn't need anything. He doesn't need you. doesn't need your love, doesn't need your tithe money. He doesn't need anything from you to. He don't even need you to even acknowledge him to exist. Yah simply is. And if we cease to exist, if we die right now, Yah won't stop being Yah. The generations have passed, have come and gone, but Yah is still on the throne. They've even tried in the Tower of Babel. They wanted to go up there and they wanted to take Yah from his throne. They wanted to replace Yah with their own made up mighty ones. And they wanted to take Yah from his throne. They knew that, Yah was there. They wanted to get up there, Tower of Babel. That's another discussion in one day, the Tower of Babel. Very interesting story when you read the book of Enoch and Jasher and other books, and you see the detail about the Tower of Babel. It wasn't just you read it in Genesis, a couple lines of scripture, but there's so much detail in making that building, that tower, what they were doing, and why they were doing it. Same thing they're doing today. That spirit of Babel, that Babylonian spirit, is still alive today, and they wanted to take Yah from his throne. But Yah survived all that, of course. Yah, generations have come and gone. People have tried to dethrone Yah, and he Yah's like, I'm not stepping down. I'm not gonna. I remember a word I learned I was a freshman or sophomore, and I was in like a senior vocabulary English class. And I remember learning the word subjugate. Subjugate, I believe, if I remember serving correctly, means to step down from a position of power. They want Yah to subjugate and step down from a position of power from his throne. But Yah's like, no, I'm not going to go anywhere. I am. And when Moshe said, what should I tell the people who sent me? What did Yah say? He says, I am that I am. Or people say, Ahia, Asher Ahia. Everybody say Ahia. I am that I am. Ahia. Yah is that he is. He is that he is. He doesn't need us. He doesn't need you. He doesn't need me. He doesn't need anybody to exist. Yah simply is. That's awesome to think about that. That he simply is. That's why I can say his name. He's the self-existing one. Now, how much power that? Think about that. You can just call him God. You can call him God. Some people still, that's where they're at. I get it. That's not his name. But think about Yah. He is the self-existing one. You give even his name. He exists outside of everything. I can't even fathom that. In my mind, someone existing outside of me. He doesn't need air. Doesn't need sun because he is light. Doesn't need air because he is the breath of life. His ruach, his spirit, is the breath of life. It says that he formed man from the dust of the ground. And he breathed into man the breath of life. And man became a living soul and he woke up. Yah simply is. He is life. He is the way, the truth, and the life. He doesn't need anything. Yah simply, he spoke the heavens, like on day one of my timeline has the heavens. He made the heavens, earth, submerged in water, waters, angels, abysses, darkness, night, evening, dawn, day, and light. He didn't lift a finger. He simply said, let there be light. And there was light. He saw that it was good. That's the one that we serve. So is it okay to question things? In your mind, have some questions? Yes. That's about as far as it went for me. I was like, Yah, I really want to answer to this, Yah, but Yah was like, no, I am that I am. I'm like, he gave me the same answer that he gave Moshe or Moses when he asked him, who should I say sent me? He says, I am that I am. He told me that. He said, I am that I am, Willie. I am that I am. I was like, well, yeah, you are who you are. You simply exist. You are the self-existing one. So when I say praise Yah, when we say, welcome to PQLO1 Radio, where Yah is first, and we say praise Yah, we're saying praise the self-existing one, the one who exists outside of space, matter, time, exists out of your feelings, your emotions, your bad moods, your mood swings, your stinginess, your stiff-neckedness, your trying to take all the credit and not give Yah credit. Yah exists outside of all of that. And if nobody ever says, I'm going to praise Yah, what did he say? You just said it. The rocks will cry out. If you don't cry out, creation itself knows that I am that I am. And I speak things to existence. And we still serve that same one that spoke all those things to existence. And that's just a wonderful thought to me. And just on that alone, I'm just smiling right now thinking about that Yah simply exists outside of everything. And and nothing I can do can take away or add to Yah. I can stop loving Yah, and Yah still will be love. I can act like I don't. I can. And Yah forbid I do this. I can just leave Yah, and Yah's like, I'm still here. I'm fixed. I'm here. And you turn your back. You but turn to me. You repent. I'm right there. I don't fluctuate. I'm Yahuwah, your mighty one. He says, I change not. I am the only stable foundation. Like we as people, we're finicky. We up and down. We all over the place. But not Yah. He's stable. He's the ruler, the measurer, the 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 guide. He is just always just a solid rock. And he spoke all those things to existence on day one. And that's just one day. Now I firmly believe this, that there was a literal day. It wasn't like you read some people, they have this gap theory between Genesis 1 and Genesis chapter 2, or the next day was 1,000 years. They use a verse. Well, doesn't Scripture say that a day is like 1,000 years, or Yah, and 1,000 years like a day? Yes, it does say that. It says like. Those are words that are like similar. Like I can be fast just like a tiger. I can climb just like a monkey. Doesn't mean I'm a monkey. It means I climb like a monkey. Just it's saying that Yah's timeline is just, we can't really understand it because Yah exists outside of time. Remember, he sees the beginning and the end and the middle, and not just the what's going on. He's so deep in depth. He knows, like, right now. He knows what's in my heart right now. What I'm thinking. He knows what I'm saying. When I say praise Yah, he knows, do I really mean it or not? Am I just saying that? He knows that. I don't. Sometimes my motives are off. Yah knows that. He corrects me. So, get your heart right. Well, where's your heart at? I see you doing the right thing, but get your heart right. Yah sees all of that. And he spoke all those things to existence. And that's not something to praise Yah for. I don't know what it is, but they say that it's 1,000 years, it's gap theory, and that's why when you read every textbook about creation, about the earth and the Big Bang and all these things, I'm talking sarcastic, I'm saying it like that, the Big Bang. And he said, they all say, millions of years ago, 65 million years ago, 65 or 100 million years ago, 10 million years ago. The earth is not, that's another discussion, is not millions of years old. If anything, I say the earth, according to scripture, is probably about 6,000 years old. And I'll say it ring close around to the 7,000 or 7. It'd probably be time for Yah to come back. We don't know the day or the hour. We don't know exactly when, but we know the seasons when things happen. The earth is probably about 65 years, 65, 6,000, 6,500 years old. That's why when they carbonate things, they don't really find these. They make up these timelines, and it's so funny. Once you know certain things like I remember I was a nuclear engineer in the Navy and stuff, and we learned about decay times and all these things. There are certain elements that decay a certain amount of time. So every so many years, it goes to half of its strength. So if it's at, using a easy number, okay, it's at 12. The strength of the power, let's say the radiation given off is 12 microcuries. So let's say 12 microcuries. So then let's say it has a half life of 5 years. So in 5 years, it's going to be 6. And then in 5 years, it's going to be 3. And then another 5 years will be 1.5. Then another 5 years is going to be 0.75. Another 5 years is going to be 0.3. Was it 0.38 or something around there? It's going to keep going half and half and half. So you can look at elements and see kind of the half life of things and where it's at, and you can kind of backtrack and go back. So we can do some things, but carbon dating is long since been dismissed as just guesswork, and they make up numbers. So carbon dating cannot be. You can look it up for yourself. You have to dig a little deep. If you just do a Google search, they're going to tell you carbon dating is the best thing ever, and it is proven science, just like evolution and Lucy, which was found to be false. They tell you all these things, but you can look at the Earth and you can see things in the Earth that know that it is young. We see the same stars. We see the same star I'm describing now. you can go back 1,000, 2,000 years. They'll be seeing they saw the same stars. Some of them may be a little more brighter or less, but the same formation, the same things. So Earth is pretty young. I have a book in there about young Earth. One of my favorite topics is creation. Like I said, I can talk about creation all day. One of my favorite things, creation, and talking about the young Earth and just how young it is. And people want to think it's millions of years old and evolution, but there's no evidence of anything like that anywhere in nature. No, nowhere. There's no evidence of anything being millions of years old. In fact, there's only thing that you can say that may be millions of years old is Yah. And we don't even have proof of that. We just know that he operates outside of time. But for anything else, there's nothing. There's no record. People lie about some things. There's no true record of anything being millions of years old. So he made the heavens and the earth and water and angels and abysses, darkness, night, evening, dawn, day, and light on the first day, simply by speaking by it. So first day, a lot happened on that first day. Now, instead, if you just read Genesis, you're going to think he just made the light and saw light was good. And even in the morning, you're going to say the first day, that's it. And that's a good place to start. But Yah gave us other words to help us kind of piece it all together and to learn things. And if it doesn't take away from it, if they say on the first day, if I was reading the book of Jubilees, say on the first day, Yah made man, he made Adam, I would throw the book in the trash because it doesn't line up with every other scripture. It doesn't line up. Of course, he made man, Adam, on the sixth day. We know that. But that's why the number of man is 6, because he made Adam on the sixth day. And so if he says something like that, I would throw it away. But it does. It lines up with, because we know in order for him to have all the lakes and the water going a certain way, and the seasons and the stars to move and the sun to rotate in his rotation above the earth, inside the firmament, and the moon as well, he had to have some angels doing that. And you read in Enoch, you really see that. And it shows their path and what they do, open up the windows, the circuit that they go on. So you're going to need the angel to do all that. So it makes a lot of sense that he would make angels. Of course, everything Yah does is right. All his ways are right. In my mind, it makes sense. But if it didn't make sense, it would still be right because Yah is who he is, and he said it. But that just to make sense to me in my mind, because I try to make sense of things. I'm pretty analytical. I try to think things out, and it doesn't always work out for me because Yah is simply, his ways are often above our ways. His thoughts are often above our thoughts, and how he does things. He sees beginning from the end and how he orchestrates things. I would never thought of making the angels and earth and water and light before all these other things, because it talks about, I read in scripture, he made things from his own knowledge, from within him. He made these things. He didn't need anybody else to. He told them what they were doing. He didn't need their help. He said, okay, what do you think about this? Should I make this? No, Yah just simply spoke it. Let there be light. Let there be angels. Angels, here's your job now. You do this. Okay, this is your assignment now. You are an angel to winter. This is your job for all eternity until heaven and earth pass away. Then you can join the numbers saying, hallelujah, praise you, Yah, praise you, Yah, praise you, Yah. Holy, set apart are you. Holy are you, set apart are you. Blessed are you, blessed are you. You could join the number then. But for now, I want you to do this work. And they do it. They're like, yes, sir. They do their work every day, do what they're supposed to do. But praise Yah for the first day creation. Now, I said this is shining Yah's light down a rabbit hole. Because if you go down this rabbit hole, lots of rabbit holes you can go down doing just the first day creation. Light. Look up and do a scientific study about light. And it will blow your mind, all the things that are about light. Just light itself. And then go to angels. There's so many things about the angels. And water. Water is one of those elements that, we can't actually make water. We recycle it. We change the forms. We don't fully understand water, because water can be a liquid, it can be a solid, it can be a gas. It could be kind of a in between state. We see it in clouds. It comes down. It can be kind of frozen, halfway frozen. Water can turn from boiling hot to freezing just like that. It can evaporate, and then water is just so much. You can pressurize it, and then you can make things with a pressurized water, steam. I was on a aircraft carrier, a nuclear power aircraft carrier, and they used the steam to propel the ship. The steam went through the turbines, and it move the propeller. The steam also turned the generators and turned them really fast. And you have the magnetic field in the poles, and it made electricity, alternating current AC, and that's how we got electricity when on the ship. All from just water. Water does a lot, and our body is mostly water, and most of the Earth is our Earth is water as well. Now, there's so much water that we haven't even talked about that on day number 3 about the rivers and then the marine kingdom and all the water and why there's so much water and why and so much of that truly is the space, the final frontier, let's say in Star Trek. It is actually water. There's so much water, so much underneath there that it would just blow your mind away if you knew how much stuff was down there. I know a little bit, and it's just like, I'm just like, man, yeah, that's a lot. I don't. How do I comprehend all the stuff that the little bit I do know? It's so much more that I don't know. But Yah is awesome, man. He did all this on the first day. Yah, that was a busy first day. I believe it was a literal 1 day, 24-hour period. Yah did all this because Yah is awesome. I could do a lot on a day. In many days in my household, me and CC, we do a lot on a daily basis, just 1 day. But what we do is nothing compared to what Yah did on his first day. He created all those things. Like I said, on the first day, remember, he made the heavens, earth, waters, angels, abysses, darkness, night, evening, dawn, day, and light. Yah did all that on the 24-hour period. I just say just praise Yah, because I have a struggle doing all stuff. I always say, man, I need more time in the day to get everything done. But Yah did all that in 1 day, and then went on to do even more on the following 5 days. Did all the stuff he made. So just praise Yah for this. I hope it's edifying to you and get you to look into some things, into the waters and angels and earth. Earth is a lot going on with earth under the ground. There's a lot down there. It's a whole nother kingdom underneath us as well. It's like under the water and the earth. There's a whole nother kingdom of things going on that one day is all going to be revealed. And if you study scripture and you look into these things and read books and look at things, you can see that there's a lot going on. So when it does happen, when these things start poking their heads out from the mountains and under the ground and coming from their holes, you're not going to be surprised. You're going to be like, all right, I knew you were down there, but get behind me, Satan. You have no power over us. We're Yah's people. You have no power over us. But when it happens, you won't be surprised. So I pray this was a blessing to you. You learned a little something. And if you are a person who doesn't read the other books like Jubilees and Enoch, check them out. Just give them a read. I'm not gonna press the issue much on it. I'll just tell you, give it a read. And if you can legitimately say that they don't line up, I encourage you to call me and we can talk about it. But if you read these books, you will see that it does line up with scripture. It opens up the scripture more and doesn't take away. If it takes away, of course, I would say throw it away, but it doesn't take away, it adds to it. Just like on this day 1, there's so much we understand now of just knowing that all the things happened on day 1. So I encourage you to read those other books. And if you want to watch this again, listen to it. It'll be on YouTube tomorrow. I'm going to upload the videos that we did this week, or Be Well Wednesday, and the video today, and the one from the week before last will be on YouTube tomorrow. And I pray it was a blessing to you. If you have any comments, like I said, you can call or text at 314-744-9414. Anytime, day or night, you can leave a message, text. We'll get right back with you as soon as we can. All right, you want to email? That's PQLR1, the number 1 radio at gmail.com. That's PQLR, the number 1 radio at gmail.com. So I pray this is a blessing to you and that you are encouraged and that you seek Yah for yourself, like LeVar Burton said in the Reading Rainbow. You don't have to take my word for it, but you do have to take Yah's word for it. So read Yah's word and ask him to show you all truth. And like I said, the Spirit will lead us to all truth. So praise Yah, and may your rest day, you're starting it now in the evening time or in the morning, be a blessed rest day, and you actually rest. Praise Yah.